My name is Salih Rowe, and I'm somebody.
What's going on, Salih? How you doing today?
Man, blessed to see another day.
I feel that. Every day is a blessing.
Can't complain. No cap. Once I wake up, open my eyes, it's a new day.
That shit very true. So tell me, who is Salih Rowe?
I ain't gonna cap. That's a great question. Who is Salih? I would say Salih is a complicated individual. Complex. I feel like I got a lot of sides to me. Like, I would say sometimes I'm misunderstood. Like, people don't, might not get why I do certain things. You can ask my boys, they'll go do a whole different thing, and I'ma go stick to my simple routine. But that's just what I know. Like, I don't know, I'm very disciplined though. Like, I'm a routine type of guy. Like, I gotta wake up, go work out. If I don't work out, it feel like I didn't complete my day. I don't know, I love the gym. I feel like that's my therapy. That's my way of getting out all the toxic, you feel me? Get it all out. But
so would you say the gym is, like you said, is your therapy? Is that a release for being misunderstood or different things like that?
I would say, I think the gym has a maybe sometimes a bad connotation. Like, people don't sometimes understand. Like, they feel like the gym, I go to the gym like for a week and I'm gonna get cut, or I'm gonna see the change. No, and that's where the bad rep comes, because people work out for 2 weeks, a month, and they don't see that change. And now they get discouraged, or they're like, no, I don't want to work out no more. But for me, I'm not even worried about the aspect. It's just my way of clearing my mind, like lifting weights, or I'm going to the heavy bag, or I'm able to release that stress. Because I know for me, I'm very nonchalant. I like to keep a lot of things in. And that's my way of like just releasing. Especially when I'm in the gym by myself, I feel like I'm zoned in. Got my big sweatshirt on, big sweatpants, hoodie on, AirPods in. I'm there. I just feel like I'm at home. That's like second home. No cap.
Why do you think you keep a lot of things in?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's like I'm a lone wolf sometimes. I like to do things on my own. I think that just might be my personality. I'm very like to myself. I got my homies, but like sometimes I don't be feeling like bothered. I feel like I want to be by myself, because I feel like I grow. But that's something I've been trying to break. I feel like when I'm around people, I grow, because I can feed off their energy. Because when you by yourself, you can't feed off your own energy sometimes. You might be in a bad mood, and your boy or your girl, they gonna boost you up. They gonna make you feel better.
Yeah. I always talk about how isolation is a killer, because you can get lost in your head so easily.
Facts.
And be proven both right and wrong, and now you're arguing with yourself.
No.
But when you're around people and you get it out, and they tell you what they think, sometimes it helps you better clarify what it is that you're thinking about.
Because I know for me, sometimes I can overthink.
Right.
Like, I got so many things sometimes going in my head, like situations. You can ask, and I always think about the bad stuff first, then I think about the good stuff before I do it. Like, I always think before I do.
Why do you think about the bad stuff first?
I don't know, I feel like that might have been like how I was raised. Because I know, like, from my family, like, they always taught me, before you go do something, you always want to make sure you know both outcomes. You always want to make sure when you go out and go do something, you know what might be the repercussion. You might know if you go do this might happen. And so I always think about, okay, if I go do this, then this might happen. I might have to accept the consequences. But I know, like, anything I do, if I go do this, then okay, this might happen. Or, all right, if this happened, then I can go do this. It's just more of like I'm a critical thinker. I have to think about everything I do. I'm not impulsive.
Right.
I can't act off impulse. I have to sit down, think like, okay, this is what you're giving me. Let me think about it, and then I'm gonna get back to you.
Right.
I can't just give somebody an answer off rip.
Do you feel that to be more of a blessing or a curse?
I would say it depends on the situation, because opportunities come and sometimes you might miss that opportunity. I know I might miss the opportunity. Like, for example, over this like past semester, I was just doing a bunch of interns, like applying for internships and just trying to like pick away my options. And like somebody, they gonna tell you like, oh, you got 48 hours to give me that response, like, because somebody might take that. And that's the opportunity. You might, it's a good opportunity, but you might have an opportunity coming up that it's a blessing that's coming that you might block it because there's something good right then and there.
Right.
But then it might be something totally better. But then also, you might, because I'm overthinking in my head, like, okay, maybe something will come and nothing's coming, and now I just blocked my blessing. So I think it's a giving and a curse, because it's always good. I feel like I always preach this. You have to think before you do.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing. I don't like acting on impulse, because if you act on impulse, then you didn't think about the repercussions after that. You didn't think, oh, this might happen, and now it's like you blind. You just walked in a blind room, lights off. Now you don't know what's gonna happen.
Right. And then, I find it to be true in a lot of things and decisions that we have to make in life. But sometimes it is good to just take that risk for the greater reward. And that's one thing I struggle with a lot.
Facts.
It's just thinking too much about a certain thing and having that maybe this will happen, maybe this will happen.
I hate maybes.
Or even worse, the what if.
I hate what ifs and maybes, because it's like, because that'll get people like, in your head, like, dang, maybe this will happen, but that didn't happen. Now you gotta work with what did happen,
and it can set you behind.
Facts. Like, you worried about, oh dang, that should have happened. Like, I should have been went and got that job, or I should have been went to talk to that person so I can maybe get that opportunity, but it didn't happen. So now what are you gonna do forward?
Right. How do you plan on coming out of that, or distinguishing when you should use that impulse decision versus when you should use the critical thinking decision?
I think it might be like a gut feeling sometimes. I'm a firm believer in trusting yourself, like trusting in your gut. You gonna get that whisper, you gonna get that feeling like, nah, that ain't right. Or, okay, this might be it. Like, this might be my opportunity. And I feel like you gotta sometimes believe in yourself. That's where you gotta believe in what you're capable of.
Right.
You gotta believe, like, okay, this wasn't brought to me for no reason. Like, God must feel like, I'm a Christian believer. I believe in God. So if he brings this opportunity to me, I feel like he brought it to me for a reason.
Yeah.
Or he might have brought it to me as a test. Like, you got something more in store for you. Don't let that get you off track of what your goal is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that also ties in with finding your purpose. Like, what do you want? And that's a hard question for everybody to ask.
That is a hard question. So what do you want?
I want happiness. I think for me personally, like, finding what makes me happy and ultimately putting my 110% into it. Because I know for me, like, coming to school, my major now wasn't intently what I wanted to go into, because I've always wanted to be a lawyer. Like, I wanted to go into corporate law, and I don't know, I felt like that was just my calling. Yeah, I thought that was my calling, but I came to school and they didn't have that, so business has always been my fallback, because I was like, you can never go wrong with a business degree. You can always, any avenue you go into, any job, you can always go in business as a fallback. They say that, like, okay, you got an understanding of how business is supposed to run. And I know sales is something that I feel like I can excel in. I can talk to people. I can, be able to relate to people and be able to understand them and push what I need to push and go on with my day. So I think just finding out right now what I want to do and ultimately just being happy, because I don't feel like money is happiness. Like, I feel like you genuinely liking what you do.
Right.
And I know some people like, nah, I can't work no 9 to 5, or nah, I can't work for the white man, or you feel me? Like, and to be honest, I don't believe in that. I feel like you got to start somewhere. Everybody got to start somewhere.
Got to,
like, you can't. I think it's a pride thing. Like, people put their pride in the way to the point where, oh no, I'm not finna go work at the Y, or I'm not gonna work at McDonald's. Like, I be saying that sometimes. Like, I ain't trying to work at McDonald's, but then I'm gonna go make the money. Like, that's just because I got to set myself up for the future.
Right.
Like, I got to set myself up for now when I'm 30. I got that experience. I'm able to talk to people. I'm building them soft skills that's going to eventually lead me up to what I want to do that I might not know yet.
Yeah, and I think I always say, I have a friend, mentor, he always says, you go through what you go through to get to where you're meant to. And I do believe everything that you go through gets you to where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Or I believe that you decide, like, ultimately the decision is up to you. And wherever you want to go, you have to make the steps or take the steps to get there. But everything that you do go through, you learn from. And you take a piece of that. And ultimately, it gets you to the place. As long as you're on the other side of figuring out where it is that you want to go, everything that you've been through can add up to being on the other side of the equal sign and getting you everything that you actually want.
I think it's like when I was telling you, like, I like to listen. I love to listen, especially, it don't matter who it is, if they young or if they older. I prefer listening to older people because I'm 20. I like talking to like 30-year-olds or like 25-year-olds where they've experienced more years than me. You got 5, 10 years on me, 15 years on me that I haven't lived. So it's like you might have seen something that I haven't seen yet. So now, okay, based off what you experienced and based off your response to that, I can take that and, okay, I seen how you, now let me see how I can adapt to that. And then maybe I'm ahead of the curve. And I feel like listening is a big thing because if you're not listening, then you're not growing. I think that's like the more you talk, it's like you're not able to listen. You can't talk and listen. Like that's not how
possible.
You gotta. It's either one thing. You either talking or you listening. And I like to listen because I think that's just my personality. I like to sit back and observe. I observe what you got going on and. Okay, you done actually lived through something that I might not experience yet, so.
That's a good quality to have. The more you listen, the more you learn. And life, to me, is all about learning. Yeah.
It's experience. Like, people tell you, like, that's like you going, for example, that's like you going to the boxing gym. You may know how to fight, but they got 30 years on you. They got 15 years in the gym. That's two different things. They got experience. They've seen things that you haven't seen.
Right.
So instead of you just getting upset like, oh, the woo, you feel me? You getting in your head.
Pride is,
in my opinion, I feel like pride is the ultimate thing that brings people down.
The Bible said that pride comes before the fall.
The mental, and I think that's the biggest thing. What's going on now is mental health. I don't think mental health is really pushed. I feel like that's a big problem, especially in America, especially with black men, black women, especially African American community. It's like the mental health isn't pushed. Like really understanding, like you don't have to have everything figured out right now. You don't. I think that's because we see on Instagram, people got Hellcats and they got. You see their best moments, but you don't see the grind they may have put in or the fake fronting that they put in that they really don't got it.
Right.
And you feel me? They just showing it off because they want people to perceive them as a way. Instagram is perception.
Yeah.
It's the best of them, not the worst of them. You're not gonna post the worst of you.
Yeah.
And people aren't gonna push the worst of you.
And the important part is the understanding behind the perception, because you know the old famous phrase, perception is reality. But the added part to that needs to be perception is reality, but it means nothing without understanding. So something that you might see, you might think is reality, but if you don't understand what's going on, you don't understand nothing. And if you're just judging by the eye, you might be completely wrong because you don't understand the truth of what actually is.
And I think it's like the truth that people don't want to hear sometimes.
Yeah, because it's hard. Sometimes the truth is hard to conceptualize.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. People don't like constructive criticism. People don't like you. I think in my internship, they asked us, they was like, are you good at giving constructive criticism? And everybody was like, yeah. But are you good at taking in constructive criticism? Quiet. Because you don't ever want to hear somebody tell you like, because I think the biggest thing for me is if I do a project, they look at it and they like, nah, this ain't it. But I really was giving my 110% into it. Now I'm lost. You don't ever want to feel like what you did wasn't good enough.
Right, it eats you alive.
Yeah.
Like, man, I really messed up. But it's good though, because like I said, you have to go through something to get to something, which is what I keep reminding myself in my daily walk, as not only as an entrepreneur, businessman, human, as a human.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you have to go through something to get to something.
Adversity.
And at the end of the day, you just got to keep that goal at the forefront of your mind. So when you think about the 3 things that keep you going in life, what would you say keeps you going?
I would say, for one, me being a big brother. I have 2 younger brothers, so it's like, in the age gap between us is not 8 and 10 years. So it's like setting that example for them to follow, because I didn't have a big brother growing up. So a lot of things for me was either listen to my parents or I'm experiencing on my own. And I know for me, I'm hard-headed, so I like to experience, and I had to grow out of it, but experiencing things on my own to see it for myself, to see, okay, you told me this, but is that really what's going to happen? And I've been learning, like, okay, let me start listening to what people saying, but setting that path for my little brothers so they can see, like, okay, this is possible. You can go do things. You can go get that opportunity, go get that job, be able to make that networking connection. Like, things is possible in this world, and even when I fail or, like, don't achieve what I was planning on it, then be able to see, like, okay, he was able to do that, and then keep pushing instead of dwelling on, oh, you didn't get the opportunity, or you didn't get that internship. Because I know for me, it was an NBA fellowship. I'll give an example, NBA fellowship going on, and I was in talks with Chicago Bulls, they sales team, and I made it to their second round, and I didn't get it, and I was hurt. I was like, dang, I would love to be in Chicago this summer, chilling, because I got a couple of my line brothers in Chicago, be able to chill with them and be able to just experience something different.
Right.
But I didn't get that, and instead of, like, I was pissed. I was like, dang. But instead of dwelling on it, I was like, you know what? I still got 4 other opportunities. Let me make the best of what I got, and maybe that just wasn't meant for right now. And I just think, for one, setting a good example for them, and for 2, I think just the curiosity. It's so much in this world that you don't really realize, like different opportunities, job opportunities, different people you might meet, different ways you can get to be successful and be happy with what you're doing. I think that's a big thing, because if you're not, curiosity might take you places that you ain't never seen before, uncharted territory. In your brain, like, internship, I'm going pharmaceutical sales. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm like, what? Like, you able to sell a drug? Like, you selling a drug to better another person? Like, I feel like that's amazing. Like, you real life trying to help another person, and by talking to these doctors, you trying to get them to understand, like, this is the best thing for them. And it's like you making an impact on their life. I don't know, the curiosity is another thing. And I think, thirdly, just the learning. I feel like just, like I said, listening and learning. I don't think you can never stop learning. Like, your mental, you can never outgrow. Like, you're never going to stop growing. Like, you always, no matter how fast, you might stop growing height-wise, feet-wise, change how you built, but your mental, you can never stop growing in your mental aspect. You can always advance your IQ. You can always just learn more. And I think that's the biggest thing. People feel like they got to have life in a time frame. Like, by 23, I'm going to graduate college. Then by 26, I'm going to get my master's. Then I might go to my doctorate degree. And then by 35, I'm going to have 2 kids. And then I'm going to live in a 3-story house. No, bro, that might not happen. The whole time, you might get a 3-story house at 22. Right. You just don't know what's waiting for you. I feel like just living life and learning and living through experiences is the best thing on how you can ultimately grow your mind and just grow your overall health. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's some great points right there, and great things to keep you going. And my last and final question is, if you had a chance to tell all 7.9 billion people, it's probably 8 billion now, I never know. Yeah. But if you had a chance to tell the whole world something, your face was on everybody's TV and your voice was going through everybody's radio, and you had a chance to make a public service announcement, what would you tell them?
Dang. What I would tell 8 billion people is to try to be happy. Be happy with what you're doing. Especially cherish moments, because you never know. You might not wake up tomorrow. God forbid that happens, but don't burn bridges. I feel like that's the biggest thing. I feel like any like interaction you have with anybody, you should always leave it as a positive thing, because the last thing people remember is the last thing they see. So having that positive interaction with whoever might be 5 years down the line, they gonna remember what you did for them. You might not remember them, but they gonna remember, oh, you opened that door for me, or you asked me, how was your day today? That's a big thing, asking people how they doing, because people really don't understand how big of a thing that is. Like, really asking somebody, because you don't know what they got going on. You might have it worse, but somebody might have it worse, like it's bad. And I think everybody gets caught up in their head instead of just living life, really taking everything. People might take things for granted and just cherishing moments, because you don't know how long you on this earth, so be able to make a positive impact. And then on top of that, cherishing those moments with your family, or cherishing those moments with your friends, and just their relationships. I feel like that's a big thing that people sometimes miss out. They get too worried about, how am I going to better myself for the future, but instead of living in the moment.
Right.
And I think that, you sometimes get caught up with, it's that built to, you're adding stress to yourself, and just instead of just living, like experiencing life. Life is crazy. People don't get to see 20, or don't get to see 19, 18.
Yeah.
They don't get to see that. So you might be living for another person. Life is beautiful. It's crazy. It's so complex and insane. You get to thinking about it, your head gets to hurting, because there's so much stuff going on. Everybody live a different experience. Everybody got something a different, what makes them, everybody, but you might have something in common with another person. That's why I was looking at your feed, and I'm like, you got a wide range of people. It don't matter, white, black, woman, man, like you putting people on here to, give their side of the story, because people don't feel like we were saying, everybody feel like they not somebody, but you somebody.
At the end of the day,
you got a purpose on this earth. You just gotta find it.
Definitely. And you made me think of another question that I've been meaning to ask the past couple of interviews, but I haven't. And I guess this would be my final question. And the question is, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone that wanted to make change, in a sense that not just like for myself, but for the people around me. Being able to, because I know for me it's hard to listen to another person my age, or like, you don't know what you're really talking about for real, like you just chatting. But instead of really just hearing what they're saying, like, okay, you might know something I don't know, so let me listen to what you're saying, take your advice. You might take it with a grain of salt, but you're at least listening. And I feel like for me, I think like making a change in people's lives. Like, I love doing community service. I love to see that smile on people's faces, that you at least like, you just made an impact on their life. If that's like at school with my frat, if we just doing community service on campus, seeing the janitors smile because they don't have enough people there and they stressing themselves out, like seeing that smile on their face, that just fills you up. Like, you just made their day. You just made your day making their day. Like, I think, and also like growing up, doing volunteer work at the YMCA, going downtown, giving out food or giving out clothes, just seeing people, I don't know, it's something about making somebody else happy just makes you happy. And I think for me, just what I want to be remembered by is just wanting to make a change, wanting to make something better for myself. I feel like it's bigger than yourself in this life.
Yeah.
It's bigger in this world than just you. And that, comes with sacrifices sometimes, and I know that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, and I know that's for me that's a hard pill to swallow. But just trying to think outside of myself. I think that's altruism. That's one phrase I'll never forget. You feel me? Just being unselfish. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
And I feel like people, if everybody felt that way, this what's going on now in America, it wouldn't be this way. I think selfish tendencies sometimes used to takes over.
Definitely.
And you feel me, like just trying to make a positive impact and not really getting in your head sometimes on what you want can go a long way.
Yep. So I'll tell you, at 20 years old, and we just met like literally a couple minutes ago, but just from our conversation thus far, you have a very positive mindset and a good head on your shoulders. And I feel like if your goal is to be remembered in that way, you're doing a good job at walking in that light.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you should just continue on doing that and trying to learn and trying to listen as much as you can and trying to be there for people and try to make them smile.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that you want is possible. You can really achieve it.
I think that's a battle I'll be struggling too, just trying to stay positive, because I always put a lot on my plate. Like my day to day, I get up at 8, start my day at 9, don't get back home till 11, and I have to recite. That's a cycle, and sometimes you have to sacrifice those things, sacrifice those times with people. Like, I don't know, right now I want my schedule to be as busy as it can be and work, because I feel like there's no point in me being tired right now. I feel like
since you got the energy,
I can be tired at later. Like, I can be tired when I'm making what I want to make and I'm comfortable, I'm situated. But right now, I don't have no time to be tired. And I think that's something my dad always pushed in my head. What is you tired for? Like, I used to hate that saying. Like, I swear I used to. He's like, what you tired for? Like, when I was 20, I was up and running. I was jumping, doing backflips, whatever. Like, just parents. But like,
all be saying that.
But
I used to dunk the ball with 2 hands.
I'm saying, like, it's stuck in my head. But I mean, it's real life. Like, what am I tired for? I don't have no reason to be tired. I got to go. I got to keep pushing, because I got things I want to achieve. I got things I got to do. So me being tired right now, it might be an exhaustion on my health, on my mental. But for right now, as long as conversations, cool little talk, you're able to talk about things, you're able to get a vibe from another person, get their energy, it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm doing something right, so let me keep pushing.
Right.
And that's just something I've been just trying to keep going.
There ain't no trying, you doing it.
Man, I appreciate it, man.
And that's good. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate it.
Like I said, just continue to walk in that, and you will make the difference that you want to make in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible. But I thank you for coming on the platform and just sharing who Salih is, and letting people get a chance to know a little more about you than they probably wouldn't know just scrolling on your Instagram looking at your pictures.
Man, I don't even smile in my pictures sometimes.
But
man,
you're smiling now.
You feel me? I didn't have braces for 3 years for no reason, so I'm gonna smile.
You got a nice smile.
I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Love.
I appreciate it.